From the Mumbai studios of Republic TV, it's time for Arnab Goswami on The Debate.
Welcome back, and now for your favorite section, which I call the nation's sharpest opinion. And tonight on the nation's sharpest opinion, I want to look a little bit in detail at the Adani counter to the Financial Times report. Now, the Adani counter was published yesterday, and Adani got very aggressive. And Adani said the Financial Times is lazy, has been lazy in its reporting. Now, the Financial Times had basically said that almost half of Adani's foreign direct investment came from quote-unquote opaque overseas entities, hinting that this is a case of round-tripping. All sounds very shady. Of course, FT used a lot of generalizations based on this one so-called fact, and around that they tried to weave a narrative that basically meant saying that shady money whose source nobody knew where it was from was making its way back to India through the Adani group. A lot of creative writing around that one so-called fact. Now, if you look at the sum total of the many arguments made versus Adani and the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of negative and critical stories published, this is just one of them. So you are probably asking, why am I even talking about it? Well, I am, because it's not the story that I find interesting. I find the Adani response interesting, very interesting. Because somewhere Adani's approach is changing. Instead of rolling over and letting it pass, Adani is sort of going after FT on this one. Now, Adani getting aggressive itself is a new angle, and Adani now claims that the Financial Times itself has reported in the past the fact that in two separate, clearly published transactions, the Adani promoters have raised $2.7 billion through legitimate stake sales in two companies. And that this is publicly available information. Not least, according to Adani, all of this was reported by the FT itself. So Adani basically is saying that elementary research shows that the money raised through the sale of equity, and that since this has been well known and documented, it is bizarre to build a narrative of opaque or shady money coming into the group through foreign entities. Now, viewers, at this stage, you and I need to pause and think. Is this counterclaim of Adani true? And if it is, bottom line, if it is, big if yet, then what is it that the opposition has been claiming? If the FT story is incorrect or not wholly correct, which in my view is incorrect, then has the group that has used this Adani issue as a political prop been misguided this whole while? The whole question raised has been on money flows. But if the FT story is not correct, and if the Adanis were selling equity legitimately and legitimately rerouting it to their fund to further their own business, which in simple English means selling a bit of your equity, getting money, and pumping that legitimate money back to push your business, and if this transaction had been reported in the past by the FT itself, then where the hell is the illegality in it? So tonight I'm asking, on the nation's sharpest opinion, that has there been too much stretching of facts, too much elasticity with facts in the process of politicizing the Adani case? Ladies and gentlemen, here's what has happened, brief summary, and then we will debate.
On March 22nd, the London-based Financial Times put out a 910-word story titled Indian Data Reveals Adani Empire's Reliance on Offshore Funding.
The Financial Times articles claims that almost half of Adani's FDI, nearly $2.6 billion, came from opaque overseas entities. They allege that the funds are of unclear provenance and they helped Adani during the time of crisis. The article also claims that a labyrinth network of mostly Mauritius-based shell companies appeared to have been used to route the funds.
Immediately, in India, the Vadra Congress used it to launch a political attack.
20,000 crore rupees or $3 billion are in shell companies owned by Mr. Adani. Mr. Adani could not have generated this money. He's an infrastructure business. Where did this money come from? Whose money is it? That was the first question. Whose shell companies are there? These companies are working in the defense field. Why does nobody know whose money this is?
Immediately after Hindenburg, Gautam Adani had assured investors.
The fundamentals of our company are very strong. Our balance sheet is healthy and assets robust. Our EBITDA levels and cash flows have been very strong, and we have an impeccable track record of fulfilling our debt obligation.
But now, in what is perhaps the sharpest counter since the controversy surfaced, the Adani Group has written to the Financial Times demanding the article is taken down, calling it all a mendacious effort to paint the Adani Group in bad light. The group says all financial details have already been disclosed. The 20,000 crore sum is a direct result of a stake sale in various Adani subsidiaries.
The Adani Group CFO took to Twitter to claim deliberate misinterpretation by London media and asked if they or their reporters were part of a politicized hit job. The Adani Group undoubtedly has lots to answer.
Sure, Adani has a lot of things to sort out. The regulators, the banks, those he owes money to, and his investors. And they all have some really serious cleaning up to do.
But is Financial Times creating a controversy where there is none? Let's debate.
This is actually quite simple. I have Sohail Seth joining me tonight for a corporate view on this, brand view. SP Tulsian, very respected CEO of sptulsian.com, very respected investment advisor. Sandeep Ghosh, corporate and political commentator. Arun Kejriwal of Kejriwal Research. Kishore Subramaniam, who's an investment analyst. And we have, giving political views, Karthik Reddy of the BRS and Abhishek Sudhir. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now, Kishore. See, what is wrong, what is right. Because one feels that something is wrong, it cannot be wrong. Just as someone suspects that something is right, that doesn't become right. Now, without overcomplicating it, we are here to first debate whether the FT story is right or wrong. FT says that half the money of FDI, 5.7 billion over 5 years, which came into Adani Group, has come from some very opaque sources through strange routes, almost called shady. Unclear provenance. They use the English word, so here look at the use of the English language, such a wonderful language. Funds of unclear provenance have helped Adani build his sprawling group while he aligned himself to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's development agenda. First of all, is it criminal to align yourself to the country's development agenda? I don't know, but look at the way it's made to sound. Yeah. What if someone were to say, while the Rothschilds aligned themselves to Rishi Sunak's development agenda, I mean, funds of unknown provenance were used by them. It's crazy. The question is, Kishore, Adani say, are you crazy? They say, We raised 2 billion by selling 20% in Adani Green Energy. In 2021, you, that is Financial Times, contemporaneously reported it. And now you are asking where did the money come from? Financial Times, according to Adani, reported the fact that Adani raised 2 billion US dollars, the promoters raised, by selling 1/5 of Adani Green Energy. And they even mention who to, well-known company. Not to Dawood Ibrahim, Total Energies of France, which was then called Total Renewables SAS. Financial Times reports this story in 18 January 2021 and questions where the money came from on 22nd March 2023. Sure, we have nothing to say to that.
Okay. I will tell you. Okay, so I was waiting for you to complete the question, Arnab, but let me tell you. See, the first point, if you keep the politics apart, if you don't bring in the opposition, if you don't bring in BJP, if you don't keep the politics apart and purely talk financial, I have 3 points to make. Point number 1, Financial Times, has it shot in the air? Partially yes, partially no. Point number 2.
What is shot in the air?
They have written very generic stuff, as in 45.4% has come. They have not mentioned specific sources. They have not come on the entire round tripping the sequence. You can't write a general 500-word article and just say that
so the story is wrong.
These are all fictitious.
So you're saying saying that the story is wrong.
No, Arnab, hear me out. My point is, I am not backing Adani, neither am I saying Financial Times has come out with a perfect, clear description with the route and the round tipping and stuff. I am only saying Adanis have a lot to come clean, which means I am not blaming them, I am not accusing them.
You are also, you see all of this stuff. Yesterday I am told another British newspaper put out a story that India and the UK, according to their sources of unknown provenance, have stalled the FTA talks. I mean,
Arnab,
just
English is not the problem.
Just
yes, the problem is not English.
No. One minute. The problem is not English. The problem is mathematics. You see, Sohail, let's put the facts here as I see it. Fact is, and SP Tulsian is with us. Mr. Tulsian, can you hear me? Mr. Tulsian, can you hear me?
Yes, Arnab, I can hear you.
Okay. Sohail, before I come to you, let me get Mr. Tulsian for a technical view on this. Mr. Tulsian, Adani is saying that you, Financial Times, are asking where we got the money from. We got the money. We got 2 billion in this transaction and we got another 700 million because we sold 37% of Adani Total Gas and we put that out in a press release. So total 2 plus 0.7 billion, 700 million. We got 2.7 billion through these transactions. Then we reinvested those transactions through promoter entities to grow our companies. I'm not understanding where the shadiness comes in, Mr. Tulsian. You know better.
That's right. No, Arnab, I fully agree with Adani what they have stated, because if they are saying that 2.7.3 million has come in from the two companies, 2 billion from Adani Green Energy and 2.7 and 730 million from Adani Total Gas, then I don't understand, because the problem is which is being talked by the people are of 20,000 crore, the round tripping of 20,000 crore. So if they are giving you the explanation for about 23,000 crore, I don't know where is the problem. And in fact, if you see the FT story, it is all very loosely written, because even if you write a general article of a buying recommendation also, you don't carry such a loose ends or loose facts and figures in your article. You need to be very specific, you need to be very particular, and you need to be very careful, because you cannot contradict your own articles which has got published, which has got carried by the same publication, or which have been in the public domain, that they have mobilized that kind of, because 37.5% stake has come in from Total of France, and now they are joint promoter in Adani Total Gas, and similarly is the case with Adani Green Energy. They bought 20% stake in the company for 2 billion. Apart from that, even Abu Dhabi investments have all invested the money in these last 2 or 3 years, maybe last 3-4 years. So I don't understand.
But one thing doesn't add up,
problem
Mr.
in that reporting of the FT story,
but
which they have not carried of this
But one thing I don't understand, Mr. Tulsian, if someone can educate me, if it is so clear, if 20,000 crores plus has been got through legit transactions, that you sold your stake, you got the stake, in fact, it shows a lot of shareholder confidence in their own companies, and then you put that money in Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports, Adani Special Economic Zone, Adani Transmission, Adani Power, right? And if the explanation is so straightforward, then I don't understand, Sohail, where is this political debate coming from?
So let me jump in here. As Kishore said that, it's partially correct and partially not. Newspapers are not about partiality. There's no such thing as partial pregnancy. You can't have reportage which is faulty, unresearched, and is inconclusive. So that's point number one. Point number two, the Financial Times is known for its very, very precise, well-researched articles. Arnab knows that Lionel Barber, the longest-serving editor who retired about 3 years ago, is one of my dearest friends. The paper under him was a beacon of well-researched documentation. It is sad that the FT has come to what it has. Number two, as Arnab Goswami rightly said, the issue is very simple. First, all FDIs this way or that way are governed by the Reserve Bank of India, and you can't pull the wool over the RBI's eyes. The other thing is, the Adani Group has put in the public domain what Arnab alluded to. A, they sold a stake in one company and in another, both to Total. Total is one of the largest companies in France. So it is not a company that it can be manipulated or has any kind of machinations. That money was brought back and reinvested in Adani Enterprises, various companies of Adani Group. It's not that someone stole that money. The point here is, Arnab, I'm unable to understand why there is this perniciousness to find fault with Indian companies on the basis of unresearched, incorrect, unsubstantiated reportage, which finally has no head or tail. I can understand if this article was well documented, well researched, had all the data, as Mr. Tulsian very rightly said. But to put something out just to create panic and then to have people in Indian political mainstream pick up that article, not use their own mind, not use their own brain, and then make this out to be a vendetta. You see, I keep on saying, Arnab, on your channel, the hatred for Modi has become so overpowering that anything that goes wrong with anything in India, you want people to believe that Modi is responsible or that Adani is responsible or person X or person Y. This is the level of perniciousness that we have seen. The fact is, Adani's put it out in the public domain. They apparently wrote a letter to the Financial Times. Has Financial Times responded? No. And remember one thing, Financial Times has been sued twice in India before for incorrect reportage, where they've had to apologize. So I'm unable to understand what the conundrum is when there is already clarification in terms of both the sale of assets as well as the repatriation of funds. It's a very clear situation as far as one can see from what is in the public domain.
Sohail, this debate is of great significance today because we are on the facts on Adani. We are not on the impressions on Adani. The impressions on Adani becomes a political debate. Oh, but PM and Adani were photographed together once and hence there must be something. That's not the kind of lowbrow debate that we want to have. The specific issue is extremely serious. A charge of round-tripping more than 20,000 crores has been made. On this basis,
this is going to impact brand India if you don't nip this nonsense in the bud. Because this newspaper is read across the world. People mustn't feel that we have companies that can get away with this.
I am saying this. Kishore.
Sorry, Arnab.
Kishore.
I have to rebut.
Kishore, yes, okay, Kishore, go on.
Yeah, I have to rebut Sohail here. As you rightly said, there is no partial pregnancy, I agree, but there can be complete screw up. So let us understand two facts here. SEBI has initiated a third-party related investigation. I am not now pointing a fact that Adani is culpable, guilty.
No.
If Adanis want to come clean on it, let them go ahead
No,
and sue FD on this.
1 minute.
Kishore,
Kishore, a minute.
If an investigation has been initiated, wait for its results.
Kishore,
How can you second guess?
Kishore, a minute.
you yourself
Kishore, a
agree
minute.
yourself that
No, Kishore, a minute.
No,
Kishore,
I
a
want
minute.
to- no, one
Kishore,
second,
1 minute.
Let me
1 minute.
complete
1
one
minute,
point
Kishore.
here.
1 minute, Kishore.
We're discussing
1
the
minute. 1
financial
minute.
times.
Sohail, Kishore, just give me a moment. Viewers, the problem is, an article in the Financial Times will be taken by some people as the gospel truth, Sandeep.
Absolutely.
And they will say, because Financial Times said it, and because it is a British paper, and the British paper must be correct, and Indians should be wrong. Never mind the fact that you've used the word, you know, which I don't use. We're starting with S out there. But you said, well, I would say that if anyone has messed up their economy, it is the British. It is not necessary for me to learn facts from the British. Now the question here is, Kishore, for essentially this, an argument made, quoted by Indian political parties who excel in embarrassing themselves in Britain. Right? Now they have said that this must be right because a British paper has published it. And we are saying...
Arnab, I don't agree.
No,
I don't agree with the fact.
Kishore, listen. There are a lot of neo-colonials still in India, right? Point of the matter is, if FT has...
I am not subscribing
If FT
to
has
that
messed
at all.
up... No, FT has not messed up alone. The entire Indian opposition has messed up with the FT.
I agree with you on that.
So we...
agree with you on that the opposition has messed up.
No, but
I am not saying this is a BJP problem.
Sir,
I am not bringing
sir,
it
you
forward.
opposition has
I
not
am
messed up.
purely looking at it from a financial
The opposition
angle.
has not messed up.
Opposition has messed up.
Kishore.
So can I come in on the
1 minute,
political aspect, please?
Abhishek, listen. I'll explain
I come in
this
on the
again.
political aspect?
Abhishek, explain this again to all our viewers. 1 minute. Breathe a little, okay?
Yeah.
It's all right. This is a great debate. People are watching. Have you noticed, by the way, viewers, that while I'm in a sitting way, relaxed, debating this subject, nobody is debating this subject in India? Because the Indian Lutyens media does not want to acknowledge the fact. None of them want to acknowledge the fact, ladies and gentlemen. I put the guest back on air. Nobody wants to acknowledge the fact that they messed up.
Adani
The
owns
Lutyens
the
media,
Lutyens
which is
media.
unresearched and largely
Adani
illiterate
owns
on
the
facts,
Lutyens media.
has illiterate on facts because their revenue streams are run through other ways. They don't want to admit they messed up. I put the question on the table. If Adanis are saying we got 2.7 billion by legitimately diluting selling equity, how could you say it is a robbery? Abhishek, don't even defend. Abhishek, there's nothing to defend. If they can prove it, they're right.
Look.
Yes.
First of
I'm
all,
looking.
Adani owns the Lutyens media. That's why the Lutyens media is not talking about it. I think we're all aware of that. Now, coming to the political aspect of this, I've read the article. I don't find anything objectionable in the article. Is it, the article makes no real allegations. It really states facts, right? It gives you some statistics. I mean, I'm very interested that there is a gentleman who's a Cypriot national who lives in Dubai. And a company that he controls has pumped in $630 million into this group in just 1 year. Now, the group in question has interests in ports, mines, national assets. The group in question has been promoted by the Prime Minister as a national champion. The group that has been tasked with quote-unquote building India, they control our airports. Okay. So the opposition has every right to ask questions, legitimate questions, on the source of the money.
Okay, absolutely,
in one
they do.
financial quarter
No. Absolutely. 1 minute. Abhishek, 1 minute. Abhishek, I'm throwing that question to Arun Kejriwal. Throwing that question to Arun Kejriwal. Here's a fact, Arun.
Yeah.
The Adani Group says that we, the promoter entities, raised 2.7 billion, roughly over 20,000 crores, through 2 legit sales which FT themselves reported. And then we put that money to grow our new businesses in our portfolio companies. The question which Abhishek asks is, how is that money being routed?
That's not enough. That's not a clarification.
Allow me to complete, because the Cypriot national who lives in Dubai, who he is alluding to, is Vinod Adani. 1 minute, please. 1 minute.
Engaged in
Abhishek, can you not disturb me, please? Abhishek, don't do this, please. I'm asking,
no,
please, let me
enough.
throw it to
I
Arun.
need to put forth
Let me
my point
throw
of
it to
view.
Arun. Let me throw
I
it
have
to
to
Arun.
put forth my point of view. The opposition has a right to ask legitimate
Of course, you have a right to ask.
Where
Who
is this
says you
money
don't?
coming from?
Who says you
Where is
don't?
this Cypriot national?
1 minute.
Where is this Cypriot national lives in Dubai
Okay,
getting
now
his
he'll-
money from?
How many times will you repeat this? I'm just counting. Okay, you're not. Arun, tell me, how was the money routed through Vinod Adani?
Go ahead.
The gentleman is talking about Cypriot national based in Dubai, phantom-like figure, etc., etc. Is referring to Vinod Adani. The question is Vinod Adani part of the promoter entity? If the money has been earned by the promoter entity, can it be routed through any entities in which Vinod Adani has a controlling stake? Arun.
Arnab, this money that we are talking
Louder, please.
about, 20,000 crores, is something which has come from Total of France. It was by way of stake sale in two companies where the promoter Adani sold stake to Total. This money has come from them. Is the government entity of Total or the company known as Total denying that they have bought this stake? Whether the money came into Total, from Total to Adani, is that under dispute?
Yeah, what
I don't think that's under dispute.
No, they're not answering.
Yeah, 1 minute. Let Kishore, 1 minute. Question, you didn't answer my question, Arun. My question is, if the money was earned by the promoter entities, is Vinod Adani part of the promoter entities? How was part of the money which came back routed through companies in which Vinod Adani had a direct role? That is the question being asked. What explains that part? I understood the part about where the 20,000 crores was earned from. I take that. How was the money routed through a Vinod Adani entity? Is that the question being asked here? Did I get you correct here? Is there an explanation for that?
The related party investigation is about such transactions happening across the board. I am not blaming Adani. I'm only saying
No.
with
Don't
all
generalize.
the data points.
No, see, I'll tell you one thing, Kishore. Let's not generalize. Don't.
There
put
has to
one
be a
step
specific
forward,
answer
two
to a
steps
specific
back.
question.
No, don't put one step forward, two steps back. Okay. Now,
No, Arnab, I'm not doing
Adani
that.
Group,
I'm very
Adani
clearly
Group.
telling you
Allow me. Adani Group has made two statements regarding Vinod Adani. First, they said, Sandeep, that Vinod Adani does not hold any managerial position. But after 3 months, they said, Mr. Vinod Adani is part of the promoter group of various listed entities. Is this really a flip-flop? Is this a flip-flop in your view? That they say he does not hold a managerial position, and then they say he's part of the promoter group, or are both possible?
Technicalities is possible. Technicality, it is possible.
So it is
but
possible.
Again,
No,
that is where the suspicion starts.
No, 1
That is
minute.
where the suspicion starts, Arnab.
No, your suspicion.
So who decides the
Yeah.
technicality?
Yeah.
Is it decided by a media outlet, or are there, empowered bodies like the Reserve Bank of India, the SEBI, and the Supreme Court to decide that? Okay, Adani is not going to respond, or does not have to take every newspaper, whether it's FT or anybody there, to go and prove their point. You have appointed a Supreme Court committee. You have appointed, there is a SEBI, and the worst critics of the government are not going to say that the RBI can be manipulated, or the RBI is, though Rahul Gandhi is quite capable of saying that, Congress is quite capable of saying that, but nobody will say RBI as an institution is compromised. So that is where the whole issue is really the orchestrated campaign which is happening. Before 2019, Congress's mouthpiece, the National Herald, carried headlines saying that, Rafale was going to be the Bofors of Congress. Now they are trying to make Adani the cockroach of Congress. Now, that is not going to work. Or if it works, let it play out over time. But don't think that anybody who has done it, if assuming for a moment that there was this whole, nexus working, they would not be so stupid to leave the whole thing so exposed.
Sandeep, this is such an important debate, and I think we are going by fact out here. See, Karthik, devoid of the politics tonight, okay, I present a fact to you. Somebody accuses you, Karthik, of using obscure entities to put opaque amounts of money and puts out a screaming headline saying you are doing it because of political patronage, etc., etc. You go out and put out the facts and prove that you have earned this money legitimately, and neither is the route wrong. You can find out about the source of the money, and the money has actually been reported globally by the same people who are now accusing you. Wouldn't you be livid? You see, you got to, and who is publishing this article? It is the same FT which never did a story anticipating the biggest crypto scam. FTX, sank Bankman-Fried, not one article in detail anticipating it. Bitcoin bubble, nothing about it. Credit Suisse, nothing about it. Anyway, let me not go into that aspect of it because I'm not standing in judgment of their journalism. Question is, Karthik, if Adani says, I know, I can tell you where the money came from, where does the political debate stand?
Good evening, Arnab. As being the only politician on the panel, I assume I'm the only one here from all political parties. Let me give a different perspective to this. Let's agree to your point, Arnab, that Financial Times and what they said about the 20,000 crores is absolutely not true. Let's also assume that what economists have said a few months back about the Adani's shell company is also not true. Let's also take into consideration what Hindenburg said about Adani being the biggest scam of the country is also not true. But what I want to ask Mr. Gautam Adani through your channel is, what is stopping Mr. Gautam Adani filing any sort of cases in their respective countries against these companies? Let me tell you, Arnab, you know why Mr. Gautam Adani won't file any cases? Because he's a very smart gentleman. He knows once you file a case in any court, you have to provide evidence from both sides. And once hard evidence is in courts, all media outlets and all people like us are access to those data. And that's not what Mr. Gautam Adani wants. It is so funny, Arnab, that he's asking Financial Times to say sorry. I don't know how this is how corporate companies work. Somebody files a scathing report on your company and you just say, please say sorry, otherwise I'll sue you. I dare Gautam Adani, if you do not agree with the facts or agree with the news which are written in FT, Economist or by Hindenburg, you go to courts and you get us the relief that is required.
Karthik spoken like a true politician. However, spoken like a true politician. However, I'm back on the question, Sohail, which nobody is asking. Today, across the country, haven't you heard of many press conferences? 20,000 crore, 20,000 crore, 20,000 crore. Where did the 20,000 crore come from? And the narrative which has been put, don't shake your head, Karthik. The narrative which has been put is that the hard-earned money, life insurance money of middle-class Indians has been stolen away by Adani and through round-tripping put back into his companies. Gautam Adani says, I built two companies, I sold equity, I raised the money, I reinvested it. Now, both cannot be true, Sohail. One is true and one is wrong. At some point, the debate I'm having would have to be had in this country.
So here's the thing. I'm taking into context what Karthik said and what Abhishek said. There are two issues here, and they have to be divorced from each other. The politics of this country has today become focused on this particular issue. And the tragedy is that the political narrative that is being set is also unresearched. What is happening today is you are parroting a particular report which, even according to Kishore, is not well documented or well researched or is partial or whatever it is. The point I'm making is that the kind of doom and gloom that you're spreading based on a narrative that is not documented or researched or substantiated makes matters worse. So there's the political narrative. The economic narrative is, as what Shundip also rightly said, today, why are we knocking our own institutions? Why are we becoming lemmings, where we want our own institutions to be destroyed at the altar of some commentary made overseas? You have the Reserve Bank of India, which under Shaktikant Das has done yeoman work today, well, Karthik, I didn't interrupt, so let me finish. And I will be polite enough to allow you to speak. Actually, I'm not the moderator, Arnab is. Number two, I think what is equally important is, as someone said on your program, I don't know if it was Abhishek or Karthik, that SEBI is looking into the matter. The Supreme Court has appointed a committee filled with people of great eminence and tremendous professional achievement. Are we going to discount everything in this country just because one particular man, an ex-member of parliament, wants to create an entire notion of governance having failed in this country?
Yeah,
if this is what we want, then fine.
So Sohail,
then don't blame people if they don't invest in this
Sohail,
country anymore.
you are elevating the debate, and I like that. Now, here is one point tonight. Viewers, please, I'm coming to you, Kishore, just in a minute. I'll make one comment. As Sohail mentioned the Reserve Bank of India. I go to Sandeep and I go to Kishore and I'll go to Arun. You know, did we ever say that our monetary policy has been maintained a zillion times better than the Americans? Ask SP Tulsian, your bank rates are the instruments that control money supply in the economy and hence inflation. Did the Reserve Bank of India keep a hawk-eye on the inflation target? Was it relentless? Did the government not give it complete independence? Is it not true, Mr. Tulsian, that the Reserve Bank of India, in fact, very often went against initially the wish of the government to keep a hawk-eye on the interest rates? Isn't this the reason why we were being ahead of the curve in raising bank rates to tame inflation? Were we not 2 quarters before the US Fed? Were we not 2 quarters before the European central banks? Do we ever say that our monetary policy, our RBI, our central banks, which the government has supported, have been far more prophetic in their approach than any of the European banks? But no, you see, we have to sit in this country, Mr. Tulsian, and keep running this narrative that everything in this country is wrong and bad.
Our own institutions down.
And then
you have a Madhvi Puri book, who is the chairman of SEBI, an outstanding professional in her own right, run people down.
This negativity,
run people
Kishore,
down based on no substance.
This negativity.
That's who we become.
This negative, and which is why today's Adani counter to FT is important. Mr. Tulsian. Mr. Tulsian is coming in. Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, Arnab, in fact, you have narrated very rightly for the Reserve Bank of India. I remember when Shaktikanta Das came in as a RBI governor, the same Lutyens medias. I can name them because I know the commercial journalists all on the channels, all the business channels which have I can name their capacity. I can name them the reasons of their favoring the previous governor, that is Raghuram Rajan, who was in fact the big failure. And in fact, all have started forming narrative for the Shaktikanta Das, that he will be a failure Reserve Bank of India governor. But if you ask me in this recent past, maybe after Bimal Jalan, I found this RBI governor to be the best.
No, but point is, these are all political, Mr. Tulsian. Mr. Tulsian, Kishore, you need to understand the damage Raghuram Rajan has done to this country's monetary policy. Today, 4 years, Shaktikant Das has been undoing that. And yet you people raise Raghuram Rajan to the skies for political reasons. No, I'm not saying you, Kishore. I'm not saying you, Kishore.
Let me answer, Arnab.
No, this is about the Adani group.
No, this is about Adani.
Not an Indian
but it's also about negativity.
Let's talk about Adani.
It's about Adani.
Adani group is an Indian.
Of course it is about Adani.
I wholeheartedly
The Adani group is an Indian company.
Kishore, if we talk of the Reserve Bank, we have to bring in the name of
Kishore and Tulsian.
Don't shout over me. I have to complete.
No, Tulsian and
India has managed its economy much better. India has managed its economy much better than most of the economies world over, hands down to Shaktikanta Das. But the point we are discussing today is Adani, let them come clean on it.
No, but you can't. No. 1 minute. See, Kishore, you tell me. Kishore, listen. I agree. I want Arun back in the debate. Of course, let Adani come clean. I'm not an advocate for Adani. I said the first day, Adani is not India, India is not Adani. But, Kishore, if Adani is saying here is where the money came from, you please, if you are saying here is where the money came from, you are saying it's irrelevant.
Arnab, let me answer your point at that. Adani is saying 45.4% came from the stake sale of Total, agreed. But let us understand this is not an isolated son. There is a case of Vinod Adani. There is a case of a nationality which is from
but
a
answer
country
this
where there is
point.
a tax haven. There is a
Kishore,
problem in the whole transaction. It is not one transaction of Adani.
Kishore, this transaction, the 20,000 crores, has been the fulcrum of a political debate.
This 20,000 crores is a politically made up debate.
What I'm saying is, and Arun, what I'm saying is a larger point we will debate. Where are these so-called business channels and all? Where are the pink papers doing an analysis of the institutional strength of the Indian economic system? There is one person who messed everything up, who's made a god, called Raghuram Rajan. That's why Tulsian spoke about it. That's why Sohail spoke about it. We have made, have we not made, Arun, no, have we not made the Adani case an opportunity to run down India? That's the point Sohail went to straight on.
Agreed.
Have we not used the Adani case as a case to run down our own country? Have we not done that?
Agreed.
Arun, have we not done that? Of course we have done that. We fought it, but some people have. Arun.
And we have one minute.
Kejriwal, Arun Kejriwal.
Allow me to speak.
Let Arun Kejriwal speak.
There is a limit to interference.
Because only Arvind Kejriwal is allowed to speak, not Arun Kejriwal. Go on, Arun.
So we have an opposition who came out with a number of 20,000, and this 20,000 seems to just keep on multiplying and erupting in so many different forums. Fortunately or unfortunately, the amount that the FT is talking about is some $2.3 billion and not this amount of 20,000 crores. But we are just twisting these numbers out of shape. Kishore said that Adani should come clean. Let us understand there is a Supreme Court committee which has been appointed. SEBI is looking into matters. RBI is also looking into matters. All these things will take their course of time, whether it is 3 months or 6 months, and they will come out. Now that the man is getting his act together and answering questions head on, we don't like it. When he talks about 20,000 crores, we talk about Vinod Adani. When he talks about Vinod Adani, we talk about something else. Allow that man to set up, answer questions one after the other. Please understand, Kishore, I'm not pointing fingers at you, but set up a business employing 100 people and understand what kind of difficulties you have in India to set up business. He's giving employment to hundreds of thousands of people.
Let Karthik respond.
Appreciate what is being done.
Okay, Karthik, last word quickly because he hasn't spoken much.
There are certain points I like to counter Sohail by. When he was talking about nipping it in the bud, even I'm kind of proposing that these kind of things should be nipped in the bud when the government of the land allows the companies to grow beyond their own strength, which the government helps to grow. And point number 2, Sohail bhai, we are not attacking no institution of this country. You should realize the Adanis are not the biggest taxpayers of the country, not the biggest employers of the country. That belongs to the Reliance and the Tatas of this country.
I have to.
All that we are saying is this company, if it is really being done wrong by these media outlets, why aren't they taking it to court?
Well, that is a point I agree with you because in
Prime Minister, the first phrase Rahul Gandhi used was "Suit boot ki sarkar." Have you forgotten? There has been constant and consistent attacks against industry in India. Have you forgotten? For 2 years, reforms were put on a burner, on the back burner, because of this irresponsible comment. Today, as Mr. Tulsian rightly said,
I take that point. I agree with Sohail, but I also agree with Karthik out there, Sohail, that if Adani has a problem with FT, then instead of complaining in a press release, let them sue them.
Exactly.
Let them sue them. Let them sue them in the United Kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen,
sue them, FT.
Let them sue the FT. That become a bigger story. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll move on from there. That's been a fascinating debate. And finally, quick, sharp debate on the fact that next month India will host a tourism working group meeting of the G20 in Jammu and Kashmir. That's fantastic. Great news. Massive boost to the Kashmir economy. Pakistan is complaining again, expressing quote unquote strong indignation. Let's debate.
The terror state of Pakistan is witnessing bomb blasts in Quetta. The Tehrik-e-Taliban is targeting cops in Balochistan. But the cash-strapped nation is more worried about India's G20 event.
The G20 has a critical role to play in finding the right balance between growth and efficiency on one hand and resilience on the other.
Pakistan expressed its quote-unquote strong indignation over India's decision to hold the G20 Tourism Working Group meeting in Jammu and Kashmir.
Central University is among the chosen universities for hosting this event of engaging young minds about the G20 presidency that is being held this year. And it is indeed a matter of pride and privilege for us that in this year, this university has been chosen to be part of the G20 celebration.
A flourishing Kashmir has spooked Pakistan. The crisis hit Pakistan must look within. Because G20 will be in Kashmir. Let's debate.
General Bakshi is taking on Hamid Khan on this debate. Okay, General Bakshi, I'll let Hamid go first. Hamid, what's the problem? It's our country.
Yes.
It is G20. You are not even part of G320. What is your problem?
Yes, it is very clear and simple that Kashmir is a disputed territory accepted by the United Nations and the whole world. And you know that according to any international laws, this G20 should not be held at a disputed territory.
Okay,
and
I
on
understand.
top of it, it is an illegally occupied by the India.
Now, Hamid,
So it has,
Hamid,
it
Hamid,
has no moral
Hamid,
value.
Hamid, I'll tell
that
you.
India
Hamid,
will
I'll tell
do
you.
any kind of.
Yeah, okay.
It has
Hamid,
no
Hamid, I'll
moral
tell you.
values that
You
India
can
will
also
do any
host
kind
many
of-
events. General Bakshi,
Let me
you can
complete
host. You can host G12. No, listen. You can host. They should host G12. The meeting of 12 US designated foreign terrorist organizations which are based in Pakistan. Right? You can hold that G12. You can also hold Friends of Osama group. You are hosting Osama 700 meters from your military
Keep saying
academy.
It's not going to change the reality.
People don't even want to play hockey with you anymore. General Bakshi, what do you make of this? I think G20 in Kashmir is a fantastic idea. General Bakshi. No, General Bakshi.
Hamid Saab, just a minute, in the interest of fair debate. I'd like to point out, Arnab, that Pakistan is in dire straits. Its economy is in total meltdown. There is a political civil war which is going on. The internal security scenario, let me please finish. The internal security scenario is in another state of meltdown. There are flaring insurgencies in Baluchistan, in Sindh. There is problem in Gilgit-Baltistan. The Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan is on the warpath, blasting away in various cities of the country. The people of POK themselves are restive, and the people of Pakistan don't really know where their next meal is coming from. Rather than focusing on these bread and butter issues, we find this ferocious attempt to try and divert attention of the people from the problem of the next square meal onto absolutely not eaten Kashmir issue of which the world is sick and tired. You might as well focus on your problems. You have serious problems.
You have so many.
Let us alone, leave us alone.
Yeah, I don't know if you also noticed, Hamid, as General Bakshi said, leave us alone. Did you notice, General Bakshi, that so many countries from the Middle East are pumping in hundreds of millions into Kashmir?
Yeah.
So much money is being invested in Kashmir. No, you tell me. On the other hand, you, Hamid, you are hosting the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. You are not even able to handle them. You told the Kiwi team to play cricket with you. Did they say yes? You tell me. You went to the England Cricket Board. Why don't you play here? They said, we don't feel safe there. Your rupee does not exist, Hamid. Your rupee is over. Your rupee is over. Your petrol is 300 rupees a kilo.
A kilo, good.
Yeah, a liter, to 300 rupees a liter.
Yeah.
What are the prices of onions, you tell me? There's a public health crisis in your country. You can't think about these things. Hamid,
Look,
you can't. People are dying because of a lack of food in your country. You have no right to talk about things like G20. I just called you to tell you that. Now you can respond freely. Go on.
Thank you. The only one thing is that I keep listening from all the Indian channels for the last few months that today we're going to default, today we don't have meal, today we don't. Pakistan is surviving, Pakistan will survive, and I'll tell you, Pakistan economical situation is getting better now. Pakistan have got stable reserves and Pakistan is getting better.
What reserves do you have? What do you have?
Okay.
You don't tell me. You tell GD Bakshi. No.
It is 14 billion plus.
What reserves do you have?
It's 14 billion plus.
14 billion for a country?
Yes. I know.
That's the kind of reserves an Indian company has.
I'm not comparing it. I'm not comparing it.
Don't.
Let me reply.
No, my question is, what is your problem with G20? Make your point quickly.
Yes. G20 should be on an independent country. It should not be on an occupied place. Srinagar is an occupied territory by Indian forces, and that's why United Nations have clearly called a disputed territory between Kashmiris, Indians, and Pakistanis.
No.
So how can India do that? And if India is doing it, you are bulldozing the international laws.
No, we are bulldozing you. We are bulldozing you. General Bakshi will get a quick response because I have limited time. You know, this message, it's the message the world is sending to you.
Boycott from some G20 countries. There might be some boycott from G20 countries coming into Srinagar.
Okay, General Bakshi.
I'm telling you now.
Okay, General Bakshi.
And that's what you hope.
It is a fact.
No, that is your forlorn, fond hope.
No, it is my assumption.
That you will see that G20 will be fully subscribed to. Because that is what the world thinks of you and the rants that you keep coming in periodically as some kind of obsessive, compulsive behavior. You know, as a nation state, you are afflicted with this obsessive, compulsive behavior of taking up the K-rant every now and then, like a broken, screeching record that the world is sick and tired of hearing. I mean, let the people vote with their feet. Let the G20 nations see if they, coincide with their views. You will find that G20 will be fully subscribed to. They will enjoy the pure air of Srinagar. They will enjoy the sights and sounds. The simple fact is that you are living in an Alice in Wonderland. You are living in an Alice in Wonderland. The fact that your leaders, your national leaders, couldn't care less about the starving people of your country, but are prepared to waste time and, kilocalories on on Kashmir.
I am telling you that Pakistan
is itself.
Pakistan will protest. Pakistan
bless you, sir. Bless you.
Has all the right to protest against this illegal action by Indian government. First. Secondly,
sir, this is. I'll let General Bakshi come in. Bless you, sir. I think I'd give General Bakshi the last word. Hamid, let me give General Bakshi the last word. Bless you, sir. I think you've got a bad cough there. 1 minute, Hamid, just 1 minute, please. General Bakshi will say something to you. There's no need to patronize General Bakshi.
Unfortunately, Pakistan. Hamid. Pakistan, unfortunately, is a delusional state. You are living in absolute bizarre circumstances when your leaders, instead of focusing on the travails of your people, are only interested in diverting attention, which I think is criminal for a national leadership to be so oblivious of the pain and suffering of the people of Pakistan and to focus on absolute non-issues in the fond hope, forlorn hope that you can divert attention
we're
of your
closing
populace.
this now. That's all the time that subject really deserved. But I thank General Bakshi for joining me. I thank Hamid and viewers, many of you tracking the story developments in Rajasthan very closely with us, where we are also getting a lot of feedback to that Adani versus FT debate. Tell me what you think, how we can innovate. And a reminder once again, viewers, the Republic Summit, India's biggest news event, is later this month. We'll be going live non-stop 2 full days. Till tomorrow evening, good night and goodbye.